Tension. Based on real events. This one was handed down to me, no one can prove it, but it sticks. Spokane, Washington, 2003. Alina, a medical student, moved from a small town and rented a 9th-floor studio in an old brick building in the university district. The rent was suspiciously low. The landlady said, "It's been empty a long time." Neighbors stared but said nothing. Close to campus, cheap, that was enough for Alina. The oddities came first. One morning the front door stood cracked open, even though she'd set 2 locks and a chain. At night, footsteps moved behind the wall where the elevator shaft had been sealed since the 90s. Sometimes the hallway chimed a soft ding, like a car stopping on her floor, but the indicator stayed dark. One day a yellowed photo lay under her door. A girl uncannily like Alina, dressed like the late 90s. On the back, a shaky hand had written, 1997 Jenna. Last. She asked around. Most neighbors shut down. Only an old man rasped, "A girl went missing in there. That unit's wrong. Leave while you can." She packed and planned to move out by week's end. That night the power blew. She lit a candle and noticed the flame leaning toward the door, like the air was being pulled through the gap. She checked the peephole and saw an eye looking back from her side of the lock. The chain was still set. Moisture fogged the hallway mirror from within and traced backward letters. Stay. From the sealed shaft came the papery shuffle of photographs, as if someone in gloves was flipping a stack. Her clock flickered 3:03 and froze. By morning, Alina was gone. The door was locked from the inside, the window intact. Her phone lay on the kitchen table, recording a final voice memo. On it, steady footsteps, a single elevator ding, and her whisper, "I'm not alone. She's in the mirror. She looks just like me." A second voice layered in, too close to the mic, speaking the same words half a beat early, like a reflection that leads instead of follows. The Jenna photo on the floor had turned damp, as if fresh from developer, a dark halo blooming along the edge. Police found no sign of forced entry. The archives turned up a student named Jenna, missing since 1997, from the same unit. That year, the elevator was reported stopping on 9 with an empty car. Since then, tenants cover their mirrors after midnight, and if a stranger's photo shows up under the door, they step over it and don't pick it up. They say some reflections go looking for a place. And if you hear a ding where no elevator should be, don't look through the peephole. Next scary story. This is my uncle's story. It happened on Alaska's North Slope, not far from Nooksut, out in the tundra where you can hear your own breath. After the family shifted to a new camp, my uncle, 16, and 4 younger kids, 13 to 14, were sent to fetch what was left at the old site, about 4 miles over wind-packed snow. He led the line. Halfway there, a 6th kid fell in step, hood up, quiet. My uncle assumed someone had caught up from the new camp and didn't think twice. At the old site, the kids started acting off, grinning too wide, giggling in borrowed voices, blinking out of sync like a bad video feed. My uncle told them, "1 bag each, then we go." In the snow, he noticed a long freight sled, practically new, its runners clean, nothing that should have been at an abandoned camp. He felt a spark of pride. Dad's gonna like this. The aurora over them paused, just for a breath. His watch flickered 3:03. The 6th kid's tracks rode the crust and didn't press the snow. On the way back, a headache hit, a thin ring in his ears. He crouched, looked behind, no one. Empty horizon. 6 lines of tracks marched the crust and then, 20 yards ahead, thinned to nothing. He called their names. Answers floated back from both sides at once, hollow as if spoken from coffee cans. He turned to grab the sled, needing proof he wasn't losing it. When he reached the spot, the sled was gone. Only 2 long grooves from runners led onto wind-scoured ice and ended in clean blankness. Beside them, rows of small prints shaped like hands, as if something was bracing up from under the crust. He ran for their wall tent with the stove going. Even from a distance, he saw the adults outside calling his name. He spilled everything about the 6th, the laughter, the new sled. His father listened, then said, "Son, you left alone." The kids wouldn't go. Who walked those 4 miles with you? Ice went through him. His father said, "Old-timers call it the joiner." It slips into a group as the extra one, borrows faces, leaves bait, new sleds, clean runners. Bring the bait home and it learns the path to your door. That night the stove metal ticked backward, and at 3:03 something tapped the guy line 3 times, measured and polite. At first light, a ring of tracks circled the tent. Small bare feet and crescent marks like hooves. Both trails stopping at the path back to the old site. On my uncle's duffel strap was a narrow handprint, cold to the touch. Since then he repeats the tundra rules. Count heads, watch the tracks, don't pick up gifts that appear from nowhere. If there's suddenly one more walking with you, turn around. Next scary story. This happened one summer when I went to visit family in the small town of Willow Creek, Oklahoma. Daytime there was quiet, blazing hot, almost lazy, but the nights were different. On the first evening my grandmother warned me, after midnight, don't go outside, and if you hear knocking, don't open. It might not be a person. I smirked. Grown up, not scared of stories. Big mistake. That first night I woke with the feeling of being watched. The room had turned oddly cool. The microwave clock flicked to 12:03, and 2 clean knocks hit the window. I pulled the curtain back and instantly regretted it. A figure stood beyond the glass, tall, a little hunched. The face looked human but wrong, like it had been put together from the wrong pieces. The eyes held a dull red glow, and a thin calm smile sat on the mouth, the kind that makes it worse. A ring of moisture bloomed inside the pane, as if someone were breathing through the glass, and the screen had bowed inward as if pinched. The air smelled like smoke and wet copper. Cocked its head and knocked again, too. Then one like setting a rhythm. The mouth didn't move, but a voice sounded in my head, flat, borrowed. "I know you. You'll open yourself." The curtain tugged as if held from my side. The door chain gave a tiny clink, though there was no draft. My phone flashed no service and froze again at 12:03. I slid under the blanket and whispered every prayer I knew, stumbling over the words, over and over. Something scraped along the sill, thin and dry, and the sound began to recede. Silence fell hard, as if someone had switched it off. I dozed toward dawn. In the morning the glass held black smudges, the marks of burned fingers, and a line of soot lay on the aluminum frame, as if something had rubbed back and forth. The screen felt slightly softened, like after warm breath. There were no footprints in the yard, but the dog wouldn't go near the window, tail tucked, growling at nothing. I told my grandmother. She stared at the pane and said, "If it came once, don't give it a reason to come again. Don't look out after midnight, don't answer knocks, and don't say your name into the dark." Since then, I avoid windows at night. I don't peer into a black yard, and I try not to let the kitchen clock hang at 12:03. Sometimes when the wind moves the curtain, I hear a faint tap-tap, tap, and the smell of smoke sharpens. I take a step back from the glass. Now I know. Some knocks aren't asking to be let in. They're counting who's still awake. Thanks for watching until the next scary stories.